Hi, my name is Carissa Kruger, and this is my presentation on my advertising analysis. So I chose to do the Rick and Morty Pringles commercial, so I'll play it for you really quick.
Stack Pringles flavors. The barbecue and jalapeno.
Okay, so obviously I'm sure all of us know what Pringles are. They're a salty chip snack, but if you're not sure what Rick and Morty is, it's actually a television show that airs on Adult Swim, and then I believe you can get it on like Hulu, Amazon Prime, that type of thing. But they actually do have a shorter version of this commercial. This is the full 30 seconds, but they do have a 15-second one that they will air every once in a while. I'd say they actually probably air that one a little bit more than the full one just due to expenses. So the purposes for this advertisement for Pringles, the advertisement is mainly used to increase sales. So they showcase all the different flavors that Pringles has, and they emphasize the idea of creating your own flavor by stacking them. So they're just looking to appeal to their audience to purchase their product. And the target audience for this commercial, I would say, is around the millennial age, so like 18 to 30. And they're looking to target viewers of Rick and Morty because obviously that's going to spike their interest seeing those characters. And so the purpose for Rick and Morty was to raise awareness of their show, and just kind of using a big name of Pringles could really get their name out there, and people could spike an interest in their show and want to go watch it. And so the target audience for this commercial again would be like the millennial age, which is 18 to 30, that a lot of this generation actually already watches Rick and Morty, and then people who enjoy Pringles. And so where the ad was placed. So this commercial first appeared during the second quarter of the 2020 Super Bowl, and so now it can also just be found on various young adult and adult targeted channels. So Rick and Morty is an Adult Swim TV show, so obviously the commercial does play on their channel. And then I've also seen it on like HGTV, Discovery, all of like the Discovery Family channels. They'll play it every once in a while. And then actually the most I see it is on Nickelodeon at like nighttime. So Nick at Night, they play Friends, George Lopez, like all the TV shows that appeal to the millennial generation and the young adults. And so they play this commercial, which obviously is targeted towards that group. And so they chose TV as their media platform just because it gives them the ability to showcase events that are very on script for the characters of Rick and Morty. So just like being crazy and having all these weird things happen to them. So that happens a lot on the show, and the commercial is able to showcase that. And it also gives them the ability to utilize more than one flavor combination. So in the commercial, Morty was able to utilize two of them. There was the spicy pizza, barbecue pizza one, and then there was like the 7-layer dip one or something. And so they were just able, with a commercial, they're able to showcase those and kind of give viewers an idea of the combinations they can create. And then also just the ability to pack in more humor and action rather than just using like a 10-second social media clip or even a print ad. Obviously, commercials give you the ability to actually have the characters' voices and have them interacting, whereas print ads, it's just a little more stationary and you can't get as much in. Onto the ad's intended function. So obviously, because it has both Rick and Morty and Pringles, there are functions for both brands. I think that is something that's so unique. You don't see it very often that two brands and platforms come together to kind of promote each other. And obviously they're promoting separate things, and so that's what makes it work. But I just think it's very cool because you really just don't see that very often. So overall, the function for Rick and Morty for the commercials, just to increase awareness of their show. So being able to pair with Pringles, which is such like a household name and a huge brand, is awesome to kind of spread the word about their show and let people know that it does exist. And with how the commercial really is on brand for what the show is, like with the action and the humor, I think it will truly attract people to their show. Like I said, it is available on like Hulu and it plays on Adult Swim, so it's easy for people to go find. And I think it's just really smart that they were able to pair with such a big brand, just to kind of get the word out there about their show. Then, obviously, just to encourage them to watch the show, like I said, the commercials really does showcase how the humor and action plays into, the TV show, and it's just kind of like a snippet, and it makes the consumer want to see more, and just to see like what the show is all about. And then also, just to increase sales of merchandise, so they do actually sell merchandise within some stores and online. And they on Amazon Prime, actually their show is not free, like not included, so people, encouraging them to go buy the seasons on Amazon Prime. So just trying to sell things just like Pringles is, just their emphasis and their main function isn't necessarily focused on that. But going into the function for Pringles, so one of their main ones was just to showcase the various flavors available. So throughout the commercial, you could see Morty carrying just tons of cans of Pringles in all different flavors too, and then obviously spewing off flavor combinations just to tell how many flavors that Pringles really does offer. And then also encouraging purchasing multiple cans. So I think that this commercial is brilliant in like trying to accomplish that, because they do showcase Morty with so many cans and doing the flavor combinations. It is encouraging consumers to go out and buy multiple cans of multiple flavors so they can actually do the flavor combinations at home, which I think is so smart. And then just again, like their main function, they want to increase their overall sales. So this goes into both the other functions of showing their flavors and encouraging the purchase of multiple cans. They just want to, make more money. Going into the societal issues within this ad, this is something I kind of struggled with wanting to choose this ad. It's just that I honestly don't believe that it brings out any societal issues. It's mainly just based for humor and to just kind of showcase both brands. And this is kind of a far stretch, but I did want to provide something. So I could see maybe someone taking this as the issue of Americans being taken over by their snacks, which like in the context of Rick saying, "Oh, we've been taken over by a Pringles commercial" type of thing. So I could see like maybe someone thinking that, Americans are being taken over by food. But again, this just like wouldn't really make sense for the companies to actually even want to portray, just because Pringles is trying to increase the sales of their chips. So if this was a societal issue that they were actually attempting to portray, that wouldn't make very much sense. So overall, I didn't really find any. Again, that was just a big stretch. But I think that this commercial is just trying to stay very lighthearted and kind of like the show, just lighthearted and humorous. So yeah, I truly didn't find any societal issues that would have been portrayed within the ad. Lastly, I wanted to do an overall analysis just to kind of touch base on my overall thoughts and opinions on the advertisement. And one of my opinions just being, I think it is super interesting to see how two different brands were able to come together and promote one another. I think that is one of the things that really attracted myself and a ton of other consumers to the commercial, just because you don't see it very often. And it was a great way for two big brands to kind of come together and help promote their products. So Rick and Morty being the show and Pringles being their Pringle cans. And then on to like the setting of the commercial. So it is within the Rick and Morty show. So it's in the living room of the house that Rick and Morty live in. And I think that was a great way to showcase the commercial. If you've watched Rick and Morty, you know that they go on a ton of adventures to various worlds, universes, places, everything. And so I think that it was very smart to have the setting be within their living room, just to kind of showcase like the normalcy of the show, but then also with all of the Morty bots coming in, it showcases like the craziness of the show as well. So I just think they did a great job with choosing the setting for the commercial. And then also, overall, I really think the commercial is effective in completing its functions. So I did do a little bit of research, and Pringles has had their sales up, and then Rick and Morty has had their total viewers up. So obviously that's both two functions that they really were looking to achieve. And then also something that I actually just found out, they are doing another collaboration for an actual product. So they are coming out with a Pickle Rick flavored Pringles. So if you've seen the show, you know who Pickle Rick is. Basically, in one of the episodes, Rick turns himself into a pickle, and it's a huge thing. And so they are doing another collaboration to actually come out with a pickle flavored Pringle, which will be called Pickle Rick. And so I think that also just goes to showcase the effectiveness of the advertisement, just because obviously if this had been a huge failure, they wouldn't have created another collaboration, and they would have kind of went their separate ways. So, and also, so how a lot of advertisements will use fear, humor, or sex to kind of attract their consumer, this commercial really utilizes humor, and I think that it really promotes both brands very effectively. They did a great job keeping it very lighthearted and just a fun commercial to watch, and it's a commercial that you don't get bored of, in my opinion. I mean, I could be someone else could absolutely hate it, but in my opinion, I think that it's a very funny commercial that is just exciting to watch. So they definitely just do a great job of utilizing humor within the commercial. And then so I also saw this with watching the commercial, the concept of exaggeration being used. So it's kind of exaggeration being like, oh, we've been taken over by Pringles type of thing. And then also just the amount of Morty bots that appear in the commercial. So this really helps exaggerate the idea of how many like flavors Pringles has. And so I think that they utilize the concept of exaggeration within that specifically. And then also just the amount of Pringle cans in Morty's possession again. So there were tons of Morty bots, and then they all had tons of Pringle cans. So I just think that I really saw the concept of exaggeration being utilized throughout the commercial. But overall, in my opinion, I think it's an amazing commercial, and I think that they were very smart to do what they did, and they were able to really achieve their functions and accomplish the purpose of the commercial for both brands. And yeah, that is about all I have. Thanks for listening.